Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 52 of Very Fun Adventures. It has been a very long time since I have come to you last. If you are new to the channel, my name is Tanya, and I'm coming to you from Southeast Minnesota, where my family and I run a farm that specializes in strawberries, Concord grapes, and naturally dyed yarn. So welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for hanging in there and coming back after all this while. I know when I came to you last time in mid-August, I mentioned that I was going to be slowing down with the number of videos that I was putting out on YouTube, but I did not anticipate to be slowing down quite so much. However, I am back and I'm doing fine. It's just been a lot. It's been a lot going on in life since August, and I've just been taking care of myself and focusing on exercise and sleep and mental sanity. So anyway, before I get into some of the typical works in progress, let me just say this: if you are new to the channel, this might be a little bit of a unusual the way I do this one, partly because I'm going to spend a little time here at the beginning catching up with you, but mixed in with the catch up will be some finished objects. I have finished 3, I think. Well, maybe there's more than that. 5 finished objects. I'm going to show you 4 of them. But I have been, at times not really feeling the making, partly because I just wasn't in the mood and partly because I have been too tired. So what's been happening? Let's start there. So much. I think I came to you kind of like almost mid-August. Shortly after that, some bad news. My aunt, who I grew up just 4 blocks from her. She lived with my grandparents the whole while I was a young child in Wisconsin. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. So that was a lot. She is hanging in there. She had kind of a rough start. She had a lung that had collapsed and had some other things going on, but she's stable now, and I have been back to visit her twice since then, since her diagnosis at the end of August, which again is I've been traveling. She lives in the same town as my parents, about 5.5 hours from where we are right here. So it's quite a long drive, but I did have a finished object that I worked on pretty much the whole last 2 weeks of August and up to, I think maybe I finished it like close to, not Memorial Day, Labor Day here in the United States. And that was a blanket. Some of you will remember this. This was a long-term work in progress that I had on the needles. It was a garter stitch blanket. I'm going to put some pictures in because I have already gifted it to her. But I had been working on it as a gift that was supposed to be for her birthday, her 70th birthday, which is going to be next March. And after her diagnosis, I just decided she needed to have that with her. Now, when it started to get colder out, or when she felt not so great and she wanted to cozy up on the couch. So I finished that. I pretty much just worked on that for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I finished it and I gifted it to her, and she has been enjoying it. On top of that, in early September, I taught a natural dye class at our local library. I also spent time every week going to the farmers markets. I have been working on the Advent yarn, so a little plug here. If you did order an Advent yarn kit from me in the spring, those will be shipping hopefully in the next week or 2. I'm just working on some final little touches and packaging those up, and they will go out. If you did not order one and you would like one, there are some extras in my shop right now. There are both the full skein option and the mini skein option. This is not a traditional mini skein every day for 24 days kind of kit. It is a weekly countdown kit. So there's 4 weeks. You can choose either a full skein of fingering weight yarn or 5 20-gram mini skeins. So I'll leave the link below for that if you are interested in that. And these extras that I have put in do not include jam. So the theme is a Northern Christmas, and the colors are focused a lot on the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights. And I just decided with everything going on that I didn't have time to make more jam and jelly for the extras. So it will be just the yarn and the small goodies that come with each week. And because of that, the price point will be less, as well as the shipping. So if you're interested in that, check that out. That is in the shop. What else has been going on? Oh, pattern writing. I have been, since I came to you last, I published a pattern. And that is the Fancy Business Cowl. And here's a couple, these are 2 finished objects that I made. So this one is for my son. You'll see it is I can put it on, I think. My microphone is lower today. It is a close fitting cowl, and it is a double thickness because you knit it in the round. Let's see if I can get it. You see it's knit in the round with a provisional cast on to start. And I have used 5 20-gram mini skeins. And so then there's a little section of fancy business, is what I call it, where the 2 colors join. It is very easy. It is not stranded, but rather mosaic color work. So you're never using more than one color each round. Mosaic color work, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a series of slip stitches that create the colors and the patterning. So that's one of them. This is not done in my yarn. This is a kind of scrappy yarn. I made him, if you have been around before and you've seen episode 51, I finished a Musselburgh hat for him with this color, and I think this color, it was like a inside outside dealie. So I wanted to make him something to match that. So I kind of used that and a few other scraps that I had in my scrap bin. But this one is made out of very fun yarns. This is the Harvest mini skein set, which there are still some in the shop. You can see the coloring, and it's got some blues, kind of brown, peachy brown. So it's kind of a fall coloring. I'll put this one on so you can see too. Or maybe I'll put a picture in here if that's better. But what I love about this cowl is that it's kind of close fitting. I'm not a huge fan of those cowls that just droop down and then the air can go in through it. I really like having it, it's not super tight, but it's close to your neck. So it gives you that warmth without the draftiness. So that, again, is called the Fancy Business Cowl, and it is now available on Ravelry. Again, I will link that below. And it's also available as a PDF through my online store if you prefer not to use Ravelry. So yeah, so I did the Fancy Business Cowl. And then right after that, I had an idea for a set of, well, I don't know if they're going to come out as a collection or 3 separate ones, but 3 hat patterns that I'm working on right now, and I'll show you that in a little bit when I get to works in progress. But so I did that since I came to you last, and we also had grape season. So I mentioned at the beginning that our farm specializes in Concord grapes, and this year was a tremendous year for grapes. It has been a rough couple of years. We did have a lot of rain in the spring and this year, and now we're in a drought again. But the grapes have done okay, because if anybody knows anything about grapes, they are usually considered lifetime plants. And that means that they can survive up to 75 years if they're well cared for. And our plants are about 30 to 35 years old. And so they're quite large. I'll put in some pictures maybe here over my talking. They're quite large. They produce, on good years, a lot of grapes. We have 640 vines about, and this year they were producing 10 to 15 pounds per vine. So we harvested close to 10,000 pounds. And the exciting bit about that is that we actually were able to sell the vast majority of those to customers and directly to customers. We don't deal with stores at all. So people come out to pick, and then I sell at the farmer's market. We take orders online, that sort of thing. But normally I have to juice a lot of the grapes and can them into grape juice so that we preserve it. I usually do, I would say, 20 to 25 cases of juice. And this year I probably only did about 12, and 5 of those cases we've already sold. So we are going into winter with far less grape juice on our shelves, which is kind of a bummer, but it's also a really great thing because it was a lot less work in the kitchen using our stove and that kind of stuff. It was just more work out in the shed helping customers. And that was lasted about 4 weeks. So we finished the last weekend. So that was a big thing. And then in the middle of our grape season, I had my annual physical. And any of you out there who are women about my age or older who've been through perimenopause and menopause know that doctors don't always listen to you when you tell them about your symptoms. And I finally found a doctor who listened to me, which was great, but I ended up getting a lot of tests, and I'm still working through some things. But everything is fine. Nothing completely out of the ordinary, but just trying to figure out a way to live with less symptoms and feel good. So my PSA here is just that if you are in that stage of life and you're having heavy periods or cramping or you're not feeling great, just keep looking for a doctor who will listen to you, because you do not deserve to live that way for the, what do they say now? The doctor I used to have was like, yeah, it could be like, anywhere from like 3 to 12 years. And I'm like, okay, that's really helpful. Thank you. Thank you. But now I have a doctor. I have 2 different doctors now, and they're both female and are of similar age to me. So they understand what this is all about. So anyway, all that to say, life has been a lot. So a couple weeks, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, right around when I published the Fancy Business Cowl, I was going to record something to put out to share with you all about the cowl. And then that was when I had my doctor's appointment, had blood work, found out I was anemic and all this other stuff. And life just took me away down a different path. But I'm here now, and I'm guessing that maybe you want to see what I've been working on. So I have pulled out, I'm going to share with you my new pattern, the new hat pattern I am working on at the moment. But also, I have been in a sock place. I have worked on other things. I think I have a couple sweaters that I've worked on, a blanket maybe that I've worked on here and there, but mostly I've been in a sock place. And you will see that because I have 7 pairs of socks on the needles at the moment. And I think I've worked on all of them but one in the last week or 2. So I am going to show you all 7 just to kind of catch you up with where I am. But hopefully you'll be seeing a bunch of these in upcoming videos as finished objects, because I really want to be able to gift them and wear them as the weather gets colder. Here in Minnesota, we are having a very unseasonably warm fall, and it's been extremely dry. And it is currently 71 degrees. It's October 22nd. So we're about 15 degrees above our normal temperature. I think it's supposed to get colder tomorrow, so we will see what happens then. But for now, let me show you this hat that I've been working on. So this, I had another, let's see if it's back here. This was my first prototype. So I'm calling this the Garter Season Hat. It's kind of a fun, simple, but I like the idea of this shorter ribbing here and then some fun design work up the side. So that was my first one I tried, but I didn't like the decreases on that one, so I switched, and this is the new pattern. This pattern will be coming out in 4 different sizes: child, adult small, adult medium, and adult large. And it will fit a head circumference of 17.5 inches to 22.5 inches. It is, I knit mine in an Aran weight, my BFL Aran base from Very Fun Yarns, which is a lovely Aran weight. It's 181 yards per 100 grams. However, I do think I am a loose knitter, and I do think you'll be able to get the gauge that will be recommended in this pattern with a worsted weight, or if you have similar gauge to, or tightness to me, you may also, I want to do one of my samples with a worsted weight and a lace mohair held together. But this is the small size. So this is meant to fit a child probably like 5 to 10-ish. And so the smaller of the sizes. It looks kind of big on here, but kids have bigger heads than you think. So yeah, I'm happy with the decreases, but I will be looking for some testers soon. So if you're interested in that, pop me an email at veryfunyarns@gmail.com. I would love to have some testers because, this is 4 different sizes. It's a pretty straightforward pattern. You just basically need to know how to knit and purl, and that's it. And the rest should be easy peasy. So this series of hats that I'm working on right now were inspired by the Netflix, well, actually, I think it's a Canadian series, Heartland. But I've been watching it on Netflix since the beginning of August. And they have, sometimes they have the loveliest hats, knit hats on that show. And so this first one was inspired by a hat that Bob was wearing. Bob, if you watch that show, will know he is, he's not on the later seasons, but he was a veterinarian in some of the earlier seasons that ran a wildlife refuge area. So anyway, this one is going to be called the Garter Season Hat, and that will be coming out. The next one I'm working on is called the Georgie Hat, and that one will be inspired by a hat that Georgie wore on the show. And the last one is going to be called the Jade Hat, I think. So I will be working on those and be looking for test knitters. So for sure, let me know if that is something you would like to be a part of. Okay, let's take, before I continue on, that was my small size. I'm working on, I like to test all the sizes myself before I send the pattern out to testers, just because I want to make sure I get the weight requirements right. And, I just like to have a few more details, which I probably don't need to do quite that much knitting, but this is the second size. I cast on with Women Belong Everywhere. And this is also in my BFL Aran base. This is kind of a fun, this one might be mine. I think I am a adult small sort of head. You wouldn't think so with my hair, but I have kind of a long face, and so my head isn't super big around. Sometimes I need to add length, but this will be a beanie style hat for the most part. But that being said, if you want to make it a little more slouchy, you certainly can. It's very adaptable. It tells you how many inches in the pattern to knit before you start your decreases. You can just add a little extra length and then continue your decreases when you want it to be. So, but the intent is to be more of a, not a super fitted beanie, but a beanie style. Okay, let me share with you some socks. I have all these socks piled over here. Let's see which ones I have. I think these are the ones I wrote down first. These are called, make sure my microphone is working, because it has not been plugged in a long time and charged, and so I'm not sure if it's going to flake out on me or not. This first pair is called the Crunkled Socks, and this is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. I am knitting this for my husband, and I'm knitting it on my BFL fingering base. And you can see I have gotten to the heel flap. So I just started the heel flap here, but it's I really enjoy knitting this pattern. It's very, I don't know, it's just very fun. And it's very forgiving because it's knits and purls. So it has a really nice stretch on it, which is great. I am making the 64 stitch size on a US 0 double pointed needles. I have this super fun progress keeper. I don't know where she got it from, but it was from one of my friends. Chris, I believe, gave that to me. It's got like a little strawberries inside of it. I don't think you can see it, but very cute. And this colorway, I believe, is a one of a kind. But I do have some similar colors, kind of earth tonal kind of blues and greens and purpley kind of colors in the shop right now if you are interested in that. But that is the BFL fingering weight. So that is the crunkled socks. All right, let's see what we got next. The not so scrappy quilt socks is what I wrote down next. I think it's in this one. This is also a pattern by Kay Jones. Let's see if I have a picture for you. Oh, it's actually called the Scrappy Quilt Socks, but I am not making them scrappy, so it's not a very good picture because it's black and white. Again, a textured sort of pattern, and I am simply making it in a solid color. These are going to be for my son, my oldest son, Lucas. When he came home the other day, he told me that he used to really like bright colors. He's almost 22 now, and he told me, well, I don't really like that bright green. That's a little vibrant. So I told him, okay, well, I won't put any more of that green on. Instead, I'll use this for the toe, I think. But this, I believe, is like a bronze stellina. Whoops, as I drop it, from Lavender Loon yarn. So again, this is a fun texture pattern. It's hard to see because it's so dark, but it is with knits and purls, and also very fun and enjoyable. I actually have quite a few of textured pattern socks on my needles right now. I used to not really love the textured pattern socks just because I found, I'd get so far and then I would get bored with the pattern and I wouldn't want to finish it. But these, the knit and purl, just different ways of doing it, has been really appealing to me lately. So that is number 2, the Scrappy Quilt Socks. And then we have, I got 2 in this bag. This is a Very Fun Yarns bag, and I know there are some of these bags left in the shop. It's the medium zipper bag. So the first one that I'm making, I finished the first sock. This is for my son, Ian, my second son. And he's going to be 20 next month. So these are going to be for his birthday. He likes kind of a long leg, and he doesn't have super big feet, like a size 9 men's. But these are knit with a mini skein from, I believe, Homespun House out of Germany. And then the self-striping is from Show Me Yarn, who no longer dyes yarn. But that is that. So I finished the first one, and I am on to the second one. I did knit on some this last weekend. So I'm not quite, maybe halfway through the leg. But yeah, these are fun. He's really, Ian is really into purple lately. If any of you attend ZK, Ian is the son that helps me in my booth at Zombie Knit Apocalypse. So those are for him. And then my son Lincoln, who is going to be 13 in December, he officially has big feet. So you might remember, if you've been around a while, that I talked about Lincoln in the spring because I was working on socks for him, and I have another pair here. And I decided his feet were growing too fast. I could not put the toes in because he would outgrow them. He'd blow through it. Well, alas, I was correct. I measured his foot. This is how big his foot is right now. It's humongous. He is a size 12 shoe, US. And this is a DK weight pair of socks. And I had knit to probably right, I would say maybe right here. And in the spring or early summer, this is where I thought I should start his toe. And that is, his foot grew that much over the summer, like an inch to an inch and a half. So he tried these on and they fit really nice. I really like how I did these. These are a knit to, purl to ribbing that I just continued all the way down the foot on the top. And then, I did the normal heel. I did the accent color just for the heel turn instead of for the whole heel flap, which I kind of like. I did it that way because I wasn't sure that I was pretty confident I wouldn't have enough yarn out of the 20-gram minis to do a whole heel plus the toe and the cuff. So I finished the first one and he likes that. The nice thing I was going to say about the ribbing is that it's very flexible in that, and forgiving is that it stretches a ton. So if you are knitting a pair of socks for someone who maybe has bigger sized feet, or you're not sure what size feet they have, I highly recommend ribbing as your pattern, because it really adds a lot of give to your sock. So I finished that on the way to Wisconsin this past weekend when we went to visit, and then I cast on a new pair. Not a new pair, the second sock. So I did that much, and these are knit on a US 2 DPN. I'm currently using, I think, Knit Picks Caspian needles, but yeah, I like the US 2, and I'm actually holding a fingering weight yarn double. I'm not sure, I think I threw out I've not been very good about keeping my tags lately, but this is the main color. I think I got it as a gift from somebody. And then I'm holding this little mini skein. Again, I don't know where I got that one from. With this little mini skein, which I'm pretty sure is Sister Weekend yarn. I'm holding those two together for the accent color. But these are really fun to knit and they go really fast. So I'm actually looking forward to getting back to these. The hard bit has been for me to balance my farm work with my fun knitting with my pattern design. It's been, I'm not that I feel like overwhelmed necessarily, but I'm just so excited about some of the design ideas I have in my brain that I really want to work on them, but I just don't have enough time to work on them and to work on my fun making or my non-work making. So that has been my challenge in the last couple of weeks. But the Bakery Bears, if you watch them, they are having Sockoween right now, where they're encouraging us to finish socks, which I think has kind of inspired me to work on all these socks, or to cast on more, which you will see here in a minute. So this pair I'm going to show you, but I have not started in on it. This is another pair for Lincoln that I put on hold in the spring. These are what I'm calling the cheesehead socks, and these are fingering weight, not DK weight. And look at that one, is much shorter. I took that one out, but these have to be a lot longer. I can just tell by looking at them. But this is where the toe was supposed to be in the spring, just for fun. Let's measure them with the finished sock, because I am curious. Let's take out his foot template and stick that baby in here and see where we are. Isn't it amazing to me how fast kids' feet grow? I mean, Lincoln is my 4th, so you think I would kind of be on the, understanding how this works, but it's crazy. You just don't realize it until you're going through it. Oh, well. Yep, that's about right. See, this is kind of where his toe is supposed to start. I think actually I put it up here. The toe. That is how much I have to knit before I can start the toe. But it is kind of fun to have all these socks like almost finished, because you can finish a lot of socks in a really quick amount of time if all you have left to do is do the toes and finish up. By the way, this is a yarn called Cheeseheads, and it is by Lolo Did It. Like all my other fingering weight yarns, I knit them on size 0 DPNs. So I'm very boring that way. I have my favorite method, and I kind of stick to that. All right, we're almost done. I have 2 more pairs of socks. So I had all those other socks cast on, and I didn't have anything for myself. And I was feeling, in the middle of all of the doctor's appointments, I was feeling like I needed something for me. So I cast on a pair of pink socks in honor not only of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but also in honor of the presidential election here in the United States, with women's rights and all that kind of stuff that have been in the conversation a bit more. With my colorway, Women Belong Everywhere. I love this colorway. It's the same as my hat I'm knitting, actually. I can't remember if I have any of this in stock right now, but I definitely will make more of this because I love this colorway, and it has been a popular one. So if you would like some of this colorway and you don't see it in the shop, feel free to message me, and I will certainly see what I can do to get some out. So this, I am using very loosely the Rose City Rollers. I think it's by Mara Catherine Briner pattern. And this pattern, I was trying to make, I did the little heel turn with my contrast. This is a mini skein from Homespun House. I had ordered at one time, I don't know if she still does, but she used to have this option where you could just have like a surprise mini skein set, and she just picked something out for you and sent it. And that's what I got most of these from. I think this one itself might be from a sock set that I decided to use because it matched so wonderfully with this. But my intention was that I was going to do it, can you see, for the cuff. And I didn't knit long enough because I forgot that in Rose City Rollers, it rolls over quite a bit. So that is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is, right? So I'm not going to rip back because of that. I think at first it didn't roll quite so much, so I thought I was going to be good, but whatever. I might knit a little bit longer with that color on the second one, just because I don't really care if they don't match exactly, but I'm on the first one, and that is how far I am. I think I'm about halfway down the foot. And you think I could have just kept knitting on this one, but no. On Saturday or Sunday of this week, I was like, I could really use some Halloween socks. And I just recently made some extra skeins of yarn, some fall colors, which are not in the shop yet, but hopefully I'll get them in the shop soon after this goes live, or by the time this goes live. I just have 2 colors. One of them I am calling Witch's Brew, and that's what this is. It's kind of hard to see. It's like peaches, and if I can take a picture of the skein that is not wound up yet, I will do that. But it's like kind of like a lime green, a deep purpley gray, and some yellow and a little bit of pink. And so I cast on a Witch's Brew sock for me. And this pattern, you can kind of see some little bit, it doesn't show up super great on here, but this is the beginnings of my second hat pattern. I wanted to try it out on my sock. That sounds kind of funny. But that's what I was working on. So I was like, I'm just going to try it and see. It's really hard to see the pattern, but you see some little ridges coming down here. But this is going to be the beginnings of the pattern that will be the Georgie hat that will be coming after the Garter Season Hat. So this I cast on for myself, 60 stitches. This one happens to be a knit one, purl one ribbing. I had originally planned I was going to make the incantation socks, which is the sock pattern that Kay is doing from Bakery Bears with her patrons for Sockoween. But I really am a 60 stitch sock footed person. 56 is a little too small, 64 is a little too big, and the pattern for incantation socks was not divisible in 60. You couldn't divide. I think it was a 4-stitch repeat. So I I decided after I knit the cuff that it wasn't going to work in my sock. So I tried to modify it at first, and it didn't quite pan out. So that's when I went to my idea, which happens to be a 5-stitch repeat. So yeah, these will be super fun when they're finished. And you know, it's getting kind of late right now, so the lighting is kind of wonka-donk, but I really am enjoying these. These are a lot of fun. It's kind of hard when you have this many socks going to pick which one you want to work on. So I get that. I will show you this. This is a fun new pattern. My mother just gave me some of these. I stole this one, I confess. This is a medium tote bag, but I don't think there's any more of these ones in the shop, but there is for sure an extra large tote, and maybe, I can't remember if there's a large tote too. There's another kind of, there's a couple different fall ones that she made, and then there's one that's like knitting themed, but she tried something different. She used flannel. So she used cotton flannel instead of quilting cotton for the fabric, and it's really cute actually. I really liked this fall Nomi pattern. So I'm not sure if she has more of this fabric that she's planning on making more or not, but she has become the primary caregiver for my aunt, who is fighting breast cancer. It is her sister-in-law actually, but they are close, and so she goes to all of her appointments with her, and she helps her keep everything organized as far as medicines and all that jazz. So she has been busy there. So she kind of, when she needs a little break, she will sew some bags, but she is busy with life in other ways. So, well, that is it. That is the last of my projects, all the socks, all the pattern designs, and here we are. It's not too bad. It's only, I think I'm at 35 minutes, so yay. Not too long after being gone for 2 months. I don't really have any other yarn news to share with you. I did tell you about the Advent kits, and I told you about the pattern that's coming out in the test knitters that I'm looking for. So those are the big news. That is the big news there. The only other thing I can think of is that for your information, those Advent kits I will leave probably until November 15th or so online. And then whatever I don't sell as a kit, I will be taking them and I will be selling them individually. So in December, for week 1, all the colors for week 1, I will announce them on social media, Instagram. I'll show what they are during the first week. And then the second Sunday of December, those colorways will go live online on my shop, and you can purchase just the 1 skein of yarn or just the mini skein set with the 5 minis. So if you are one of those people who really likes to see before you purchase, you can do it that way. And you can, or maybe you just want, 2 sets or, whatever. You can decide yourself if that price point for all of them is too much. But the colors do coordinate with each other and they go well together. The larger skein is different than the mini skein sets, but they do coordinate each week, and they look lovely together. So you could make a fancy business cowl out of one of those 5 mini skein sets from one of the weeks, or you could make 4 and you could gift 3, or whatever you'd like to do. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so very much for being here with me today, for coming back, for supporting me, and for all the I got some lovely messages when I had been away for a while, checking in on me to make sure I was okay. I really, really appreciate that. I'm doing well. I'm doing much better than I had been doing. So thank you very much. Until next time, I hope you are having some wonderful crafting, making, whatever it is that's bringing you joy. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.